Caitlin Clark's foundation just announced a major investment in youth sports facilities across Des Moines. This partnership with Musco Lighting will create 4 state-of-the-art multi-sport courts at middle schools throughout the city. While some players celebrate this community investment, others are privately panicking about what this means for the league's future. Today we're exploring why this seemingly positive development has some WNBA stars feeling threatened. The announcement came on March 18, 2025, through Business Wire. The Caitlin Clark Foundation, in partnership with Musco Lighting, will be funding 4 Musco mini-pitch systems at Hyatt, Callanan, McCombs, and Weeks middle schools in Des Moines. These aren't just basic basketball courts, they're comprehensive sports facilities designed for soccer, basketball, and futsal. Each facility comes equipped with built-in goals and hoops, integrated fencing, lighting, benches, custom surfacing, and ADA-accessible gates. This is a significant investment in youth sports infrastructure that goes far beyond a simple publicity stunt. Mary Coffin, president of the Caitlin Clark Foundation, stated providing courts for local youth helps them find opportunities to play and connect with others. Sport activities provided by these courts help develop connections, foster teamwork, and improve communication. This initiative aligns perfectly with the Foundation's mission of uplifting youth through education, nutrition, and sports, the 3 pillars Clark credits for her own success. But why is this causing such a stir among certain WNBA players? The answer lies in what this represents about Clark's growing influence and the shifting power dynamics within women's basketball. Since entering the WNBA, Caitlin Clark has been a lightning rod for attention. Her record-breaking college career at Iowa translated into unprecedented viewership for the Indiana Fever. TV ratings skyrocketed, arena seats filled, and merchandise flew off shelves. In her rookie season alone, Clark helped generate millions in additional revenue for a league that had struggled with profitability. What we're witnessing now is Clark leveraging that popularity into building something far more substantial, a lasting legacy that extends beyond her playing career. And that's precisely what has some established WNBA players worried. For years, the WNBA operated with a particular social and political identity. Many players built their personal brands around activism and social justice causes, positioning themselves as voices for change within sports. This approach resonated with a dedicated core audience but failed to attract the mainstream viewership that men's sports enjoy. Clark represents a different approach. While never shying away from supporting important causes, her primary focus has been basketball excellence and community building. Her foundation's investment in these courts demonstrates a pragmatic, results-oriented approach to making a difference. Consider the timing. This announcement comes just weeks before the 2025 WNBA season begins. Clark is entering her sophomore season with even greater expectations after winning Rookie of the Year. Rather than focusing exclusively on individual accolades, she's simultaneously building a community infrastructure that will benefit thousands of young people. According to the press release, each mini-pitch can reach an average of 10,000 kids. Multiplied across 4 locations, that's potentially 40,000 youth who will have access to high-quality sports facilities because of this initiative. This isn't just charity. It's strategic community investment with measurable outcomes. The Des Moines Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Ian Roberts, acknowledged the significance of this partnership. Providing every student at DMPS with greater access to activities and athletics, along with the first-rate facilities they deserve, is an important part of our strategic plan to reimagine education in Des Moines. What's particularly noteworthy is how this initiative bridges traditional divides. The courts will support multiple sports, basketball, soccer, and futsal, creating spaces where kids with different interests can come together. They're being placed in middle schools, capturing young people at a critical developmental stage when positive activities and role models are most impactful. This approach stands in stark contrast to the fragmentation we sometimes see in professional sports, where athletes often stick to promoting their own sport or personal brand exclusively. Clark is thinking bigger, focusing on comprehensive youth development through multiple athletic opportunities. Some WNBA veterans have privately expressed concern about what this means for their own influence within the league. For years, a certain group of players dominated media attention and sponsorship opportunities. Now Clark's growing business empire and foundation work are reshaping expectations for what a WNBA star can accomplish. The partnership with Musco Lighting is particularly symbolic. Based in Iowa, Musco has been a world leader in sports lighting and facility solutions since 1976, working on projects in more than 125 countries. They've installed over 375 mini pitches in the U.S. and are collaborating with the U.S. Soccer Foundation to bring 1,000 mini pitches to the country by the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Jeff Rogers, Musco CEO, described the partnership as meaningful because it stems from shared values to provide increased access to recreation and safer and more enjoyable playing experiences. This isn't just a celebrity putting their name on a project, it's a strategic alliance between organizations with aligned missions and complementary capabilities. This level of business acumen and community impact has some WNBA players realizing they need to elevate their own off-court initiatives. The days of simply posting on social media about causes may no longer be enough to maintain relevance in a league increasingly defined by substantive community investment. Let's look at Clark's philanthropic history to understand why this latest initiative is causing such anxiety among some league veterans. In January, she celebrated her birthday by partnering with Scholastic to donate 22,000 children's books to needy communities. When her jersey was retired at the University of Iowa, she donated $22,000 to 4 local charities: the University of Iowa Children's Hospital, Coralville Community Food Pantry, Boys and Girls Club of the Corridor, and Special Olympics Iowa. Clark explained her commitment to these causes. "One of my favorite things about Iowa City is the way the community is connected and how everyone supports each other. It is something I felt during my time here and is important to me that I stay connected with." This consistent investment in communities creates a virtuous cycle. The more Clark gives back, the more popular she becomes. The more popular she becomes, the more resources she can direct toward meaningful causes, and the more impact she creates, the more she challenges other athletes to do the same. Some WNBA players who built their brands primarily around on-court performance or social media presence are now finding themselves outflanked by Clark's comprehensive approach to athletic excellence and community building. The foundation's work demonstrates a level of organizational capability and strategic thinking that goes beyond typical athlete charitable efforts. The multi-sport nature of these facilities is particularly significant. By supporting basketball, soccer, and futsal, Clark is positioning herself not just as a basketball star but as an advocate for youth sports broadly. This widens her appeal and influence beyond basketball fans to include parents, educators, and community leaders concerned with youth development generally. For WNBA players who have operated within narrower lanes, this expansive approach presents a challenge. How do they maintain relevance in a landscape where the new standard for impact extends far beyond the court? Some veterans are privately acknowledging that they need to evolve their approach. The days when social media followings alone determined an athlete's value are fading. Substantive community investment and measurable impact are becoming the new currency of influence. What makes this particularly challenging for some WNBA players is that Clark's approach doesn't fit neatly into the existing narrative within the league. She's not following the established playbook but creating her own, combining athletic excellence with business acumen and strategic philanthropy. The courts themselves represent a physical manifestation of Clark's vision. Unlike a social media post that disappears from feeds within hours, these facilities will serve communities for years. Children who weren't even born when Clark entered the league will benefit from these courts, creating a multi-generational impact that few athletes achieve. This long-term thinking is what separates Clark's approach from more temporary forms of activism or charity. She's building infrastructure that will outlast news cycles and social media trends, cementing her legacy in concrete ways. The partnership aspect is equally important. By collaborating with established organizations like Musco Lighting and Des Moines Public Schools, Clark is leveraging expertise and resources beyond her own. This multiplies her impact and demonstrates an understanding of how meaningful change happens through collaboration rather than individual efforts. For WNBA players who have operated more as individual brands, this collaborative model presents both a challenge and an opportunity. Those willing to evolve might find similar partnerships that amplify their own impact. Those who resist may find themselves increasingly marginalized in a league where substantive community investment is becoming the expectation rather than the exception. The timing of this announcement just before the new season is strategic as well. It ensures that conversations about Clark will include both her on-court potential and her off-court impact. This comprehensive narrative makes her more appealing to sponsors, fans, and media alike. Some veterans are concerned that this broader narrative will make it harder for them to compete for attention and resources. A player who is excellent on the court but has limited community impact may find fewer opportunities in this evolving landscape. What's particularly interesting is how Clark has managed to build this foundation while still focusing intensely on her game. She's not choosing between athletic excellence and community impact. She's pursuing both simultaneously, raising the bar for what constitutes a complete professional athlete. the reaction within WNBA circles has been mixed. Some players have privately expressed admiration for Clark's approach and are looking for ways to develop similar initiatives. Others feel threatened by the changing expectations and are resisting the new paradigm. League executives, however, are largely supportive of Clark's efforts. Anything that connects the WNBA more deeply to communities creates potential new fans and supporters. Clark's foundation work essentially functions as grassroots marketing for women's basketball, introducing the sport to children who might not otherwise have access or exposure. The business case is clear. By creating these multi-sport facilities, Clark is essentially building a pipeline of future fans, players, and supporters. Some children who play on these courts will develop a passion for basketball and become WNBA fans. Others might pursue the sport themselves, potentially becoming the next generation of players. This long-term thinking about growing the game represents a maturity that belies Clark's youth. While some veterans focused primarily on immediate gains, salary increases, media attention, endorsement deals, Clark is simultaneously building for the future of women's basketball broadly. This forward-thinking approach has some WNBA players reconsidering their own legacies. What will remain of their impact once their playing days are over? Have they built anything that will outlast their careers? These uncomfortable questions are driving a re-evaluation among players who previously felt secure in their positions within the league hierarchy. The geographic focus of this initiative is significant as well. By investing in her home state of Iowa, Clark is strengthening her connection to the community that supported her rise. This regional loyalty resonates with fans who appreciate seeing athletes give back to their roots rather than simply chasing opportunities in larger markets. For WNBA players who have primarily built their brands in major cities, this local investment strategy offers a potential path forward. By creating meaningful impact in specific communities, they might develop deeper connections with fans than generalized national campaigns can achieve. The educational component shouldn't be overlooked either. By placing these courts at middle schools, Clark is explicitly connecting sports with education, reinforcing her foundation's holistic approach to youth development. This positioning aligns with parents' and educators' values, broadening her appeal beyond sports fans to include those primarily concerned with educational outcomes. Some WNBA veterans who have focused more narrowly on athletic empowerment are now considering how they might incorporate educational elements into their own initiatives. This evolution represents a potential positive outcome from the competitive pressure Clark's approach has created, a raising of standards across the league. What's clear is that Clark's foundation work isn't just charity, it's a comprehensive strategy for community impact, brand building, and legacy creation. The thoughtfulness behind these efforts suggests a player who understands that her influence extends far beyond the 40 minutes she spends on the court during games. For a league that has struggled with business fundamentals throughout its history, Clark represents a new model of athlete entrepreneurship. She's not just waiting for the league to create opportunities, she's actively building her own platform while simultaneously growing the pie for women's basketball broadly. This entrepreneurial mindset is precisely what makes some established players uncomfortable. They came of age in an era when the path to success in the WNBA was narrower, focused primarily on on-court performance and public advocacy. Clark's comprehensive approach requires a broader skill set, combining athletic excellence with business acumen, strategic philanthropy, and collaborative leadership. The question now is how other WNBA players will respond to this new paradigm. Will they resist the changing expectations or embrace the opportunity to evolve their own approaches? The answer will likely determine which players thrive in this new era and which find themselves increasingly marginalized. For the league itself, Clark's rise presents both an opportunity and a challenge. The opportunity is clear: leverage her popularity and innovative approach to grow the WNBA's audience and impact. The challenge lies in managing the transition as power dynamics shift within the league. What's undeniable is that Clark's foundation work represents a new standard for athlete impact. By creating tangible community resources with measurable outcomes, she's demonstrating what's possible when athletic success is coupled with strategic philanthropy. As Caitlin Clark continues building her legacy both on and off the court, the entire landscape of women's basketball is transforming.